And so let me share. So Deepti, potentially when you are installing the data loader, so I mean you go here, data loader. Yeah, okay. There is this data loader IO, and I believe this is the one you must have picked up.
Yes. Before
So,
that, I think I downloaded the Java one too.
yeah, yeah, that's the one I want. That's the one I used in the. So you see this guy here. Basically, there is space. If you use space, so you go to data loader. I mean, this is the one I showed in the class. So this guy, the main thing with this one is you are uploading the data. I mean, this is a client application. The data is not going anywhere. So you are putting data on your machine and you are using that application. Whereas this guy, so I believe the way it works. So this is an cloud application, another cloud application, and you are putting your data into another cloud, not only the Salesforce. That's why I mean, I don't say this is bad one or anything, but based on our the client, sometimes they may say, okay, don't use external applications. So yeah, so I see how you picked up this one, Kritika. So yeah, so if you use this guy, so this is the one based on your application. So I mean the client PC, if it is Windows, you have different instructions. If it is Mac, you have different instructions. So first you need that Java, the JDK install. And I mean, since mine is Mac basically, and so here it will show you first you need to install the JDK Julu or something. You have to follow. Earlier it was very straightforward. They used to give some exe file. Even Windows, I believe you still need a better, I mean, they don't like JDK 8. They want, I think, 17 or above, or 11 or above, one or the other. And yeah, these are the things that you must have followed, Dipti.
Yeah.
And you had error?
No.
Okay, good. So let's go back then. So if both of you are good. Yeah. So last class we talked about the reports and dashboards. So we have seen there are three types of reports: table reports, summary reports, and matrix. We didn't really play with matrix, but you just the moment you select there are the group by rows and columns, immediately the report will become matrix report. And the exercises that I gave, so those I believe they have some matrix report building also. And then we also I mean, saw how to uh, add some security to these reports via creating some folders and then giving access to the folders. And the way access works, record access works from lower level to higher level, but typically the report dashboards, if you give lower level people, that won't automatically give access to the higher level managers. So you have to the access that you can give at most using role and subordinates. That's how you can roll it down to the people underneath. And then we looked at report filters and cross object filters. Basically on same object we can add filters. And also if we are adding accounts with opportunities or something like that. So the way the example that we looked at, if we want to get any accounts that don't have any open opportunities or for that matter any opportunities, we looked at using cross object filters. And while doing the reports, we saw how to group the reports by some user or some certain pick list value. Those are the things that we looked at. And then we also saw how to add charts to reports. And then once we I mean, whether we add a report or not, I mean, chart or not, so we can add that report to a dashboard. And there are two types of dashboards. One is static and the other one is dynamic. The advantage with dynamic, is mainly, so whoever is the user. So one option is directly as soon as you log in, you access the dashboard, it will take your access and it will show the records. The other one is sometimes if you are some power user, you can easily change the login as user or report run user. That way you can see, you can impersonate other people access from dashboard point of view. So those are the things that we have checked in the last class. Any questions? I believe you may have not tried, but if you have any questions, we can discuss.
No, Shrikam, not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think it should be very straightforward one, but I mean, as I said in the class, so in daily work life, so we may be writing a lot of reports, or at least we will be helping business writing reports or troubleshooting some reports. And also sometimes the main thing is sometimes business would say, hey, I wrote this report and it is not working well. So typically for performance issues will easily come for the reports, and that's where the admins will be involved. And the main reasons could be, let's say if you have millions of records for an object, if they try to write a report and those will not work properly unless, I mean, that's where we have to add those filters properly. And especially those filters, we need to make sure the filter is on some index field. So those are some advanced level topics that we can take a look at later. But I mean, just for you to keep an eye, usually you get some performance related issues on the reports. Okay. So now we can jump into the next module, the automation. So this is where, I mean, Salesforce, all the declarative stuff. I mean, there are a lot of ways you can automate. Sometimes business, as I mentioned earlier, every step that we save for business is a win for the enterprise. So let's say they're creating some case, and as I mentioned earlier, so if there are 100 users or 1,000 users, and just by simply defaulting a quick list value for a specific process, that way they don't have to go select that field. And and even if you save 1 second for the user while creating one transaction, so that adds up quite a lot. So 100 users, 100 seconds, and if they're creating 10 cases every day, so that is like 100 plus 100 times 10, another 1,000 seconds. So that's how they calculate the productivity. And every automation that we do is going to help business, sometimes with data quality, sometimes with time saving. So that's where we will increase a lot of productivity. So the example that again from the charter that we can take. So the Mackay, Connor Mackay, so he is a marketing VP. So he is asking us, okay, so we are using a lot of email alerts and the emails to send emails to customers, and we are not following any consistent process. And also he's saying, so the branding is important for any company. So when we are sending an email, instead of just sending a plain email, if the email goes on the company letterhead or maybe with company logo, that gives a little bit of branding. So we definitely don't want to send anything with Salesforce name on it, because I mean, even though we are using Salesforce, it is all about our business. So let's say Crestsoft, we are doing some business, means even though we are using Salesforce, it doesn't make sense to send anything with Salesforce name. If we send with our logo, Crestsoft logo, so that basically improves some relationship with customer. And also sometimes if at all the business sees some emails, let's say Pepsi, they see some email from us, and if they notice that this email came from Salesforce, basically they might think this is a fishy email, because if we are sending email, that should be under our logo and all. So those are the things. All he is asking, okay, he wants us to create an email template so that whenever we are sending emails, we can use that template. and also he wants us to provide little more security, and he wants this template to be created under marketing folder. Very straightforward one. So let's take a look at in the system how to do that. So as again, so everything is under setup. And for email templates, as I mentioned earlier, so there are two user interface from Salesforce, Classic and Lightning. And these guys, so you can create both in Classic and Lightning email templates. So let's take for this use case, we will go by Classic email templates. And first, the thing that he wants us to create folders. If you see, these are all the email templates that we have in the system. And the first thing is folder here. And he wants us to create some marketing folder. So here we are creating a folder. Let's call that as marketing. And I mean, this is where we can give access, what access we want to give for those folks. And let's call this one. So we only want to give this to marketing folks. And so let's, I mean, Hanar Mekai will be under this marketing director. And we are saying role and subordinates. So everybody underneath him also get access to it. And yeah, just for us to access, I mean, if at all we want to try, so we can give our role also. That way we will also get that access. I mean, for now we just created one email, folder. And now let's say we want to create a email template. And so here we are using this template, the classic with letterhead. So we are going to add some logos and all. So here we have to select this guy. This is important. If any end user wants to use it, so I mean, this should be selected. And so for this email template, let's call okay, yeah, first we need to create that letterhead. Let's go back, create letterhead. And so he mentioned that he also created, I mean, he has a template that he wants us to use. So let's go create this guy and use that logo that he has given. So this is where you select the logo, and the way, I mean, he already gave the logo. It is also under charter, he mentioned, and we just pick up that one. So I mean, first thing is we have to come up with that logo and all. Once we have that logo, I mean, we can select that one, and so we can proceed from there. So this is, let's say this is our template. And let's go back to email templates. I mean, that's our letterhead. So we are going to use it in our email template. Yeah, I selected with letterhead. So I selected so we select that guy, and yeah, I mean, if you have, if you want to know which one is more apt for us, so basically those, this is where it says, okay, if you select this one, how it is going to look like. So basically this is the free form letter, and if you want to separate the sections, so you can use a different template. So I selected the first one, and so let's so this is where, I mean, we are telling user to change it as they want. And Yeah, if you want to use merge fields, let's say if we are creating some contact and we are sending an email to a contact, so obviously we have to give that experience, um, picking his first name, last name kind of thing. So let's select his name. So here, I mean, this is called a merge field. We have to just copy this guy, and basically here we can use in the body. So like that. So when it is executing, so I mean, obviously we go to a contact and we execute this thing, and at that time this contact name will be replaced. So, and if at all we want to use our name, so I believe you can use some user fields also here. So you just copy this guy and it will go, your name will be populated there. And I mean, that is the HTML one. And if you want, let's say some users may not have the HTML one at that time. So by default, Salesforce would copy the HTML version into the text version. Or if you want to change it, you have an option to change this guy. And if at all you change this guy, every time you make some change, you have to adjust this guy. So we change that one. So yeah, we got all this thing. Let's go. I mean, no, if you want to test, so potentially you can test it here. So let's say we go, we select some contact. So let's pick some user here. And since we are not using any account, so basically it doesn't matter whether we select this guy or not. And so yeah, you see here. So basically, since we picked that contact, it picked the contact first name and last name, and also my first name and last name. I mean, now if at all we go to a contact, and if we expose this email template, let's go back to Salesforce. Let's go to contacts, and obviously these things we want end users to use it. So let's say if we go to Arnold from activity history, so you can send some emails. So here, yeah, so this is where this email template you can use from template. And so this is the marketing email template that we just created. So the moment we select that guy, it automatically got us that the logo, our logo is going to be available. And also it by default it picked up all that thing. And sometimes in business scenarios, we don't want users to type a lot of that stuff. That's where these email templates would come handy. I mean, this is one kind of an automation that we are going to help business. And let's say there is an inside sales team that they are sending a lot of emails to customers. And so if we use this way, so first thing is we are adding our branding with our logo and all. Second thing is we are adding all this text for them, so they don't have to write a lot of these things. And that way we are helping those guys, I mean the business users. So I mean we can send the email. So that's how that sort of automation would work. Any questions there? I mean, very straightforward one.
Is there any difference in Lightning email template? I think
Yeah, I mean,
this is
Lightning
the
one is
classic.
Lightning one is new thing. So you would, I mean, for a classic one, so you have to go set up to create those. But for the lightning, you just directly go create in here. So, so new email template, and you just create it here. Yeah, I haven't played much with this one, so maybe you can play a little bit here, but the
Okay.
concept should be same. And the main thing is, I believe, yeah, even the classic ones you should be able to deploy. And initially, when Lightning email templates come, I mean, since you, I mean, everything that comes here, these are typically not deployable one, but later Salesforce gave some deployment options for this email Lightning email templates also. And ideally you should be able to leverage either this one or that one. I mean, you create a folder, just Lightning folder. And I believe you can also set some security for that folder. Yeah, so basically same functionality. So here, I mean, if you want to share with some users, you should be able to share, and all those options are still here. It should work similarly without much difference, and you should be able to use those merge fields without any problem.
Okay.
Yeah, so typically I think the merge fields should be HTML value. Yeah, I think this is the merge field. Basically, if you want to pick some user field, I think, I mean, here it is sender. Directly you can pick the user name, sender name. That's how we can pick I mean, the full name. Let that go.
Looks like little bit advanced version.
Yeah, I mean, that one has as it by the name, it is a classic one. So
Yeah.
and yeah, this one may look more lightning kind of thing. Yeah, I was hoping that one would pop into here, so that was not coming. Yeah, as I said, I didn't play much with this.
Yeah.
thing. Okay. But should be same. I mean, maybe once or twice I used it, but not quite a lot. So ideally, that one should be copied here. Yeah, now okay. I mean, so this is how you would get the same thing you can build here, and you can use it in the email when you are sending to contact. I mean, you can send emails from contact, account, lead, and multiple places, and also you can use these email templates in email alerts that we are going to talk in a little bit later. So then, so the next thing is workflow rules. And I clearly mentioned here, better stay away. The main reason is, so these workflows, they are powerful, but this is like maybe when Salesforce started their initial implementation or initial versions. So it was there and it is still there, but what Salesforce is saying, so they have given a lot of declarative options, and the development teams and the admin team, they are creating a lot of duplicate stuff that is causing a lot of maintenance issues. That's why Salesforce is going after flows, and they are making a lot of enhancements on the flows, but not on workflows and the process builders that we are going to talk in the next one. So they are also going to ask all the customers to migrate workflows and process builders into flows. That's why if at all you are creating any new things, you better start with flows instead of workflows. So the main reason is maintenance, and also the main features from say, the workflow are so the way you do the things. Basically, there are 4 main features. for everything like validation rule and all. So there are trigger conditions when that workflow would fire and what that workflow should do. So either you want to update same object fields, or you want to send an email alert, or you want to send a task, assign a task to somebody. And if you want to send a message to external systems. So those are the main places where you use workflow. But all these things you should be able to do it using Process Builder. Process Builder is there. Once they started with the workflow, then after 4 or 5 years they came with the Process Builder, and that Process Builder also they see that there are some gaps, and finally they're settling down with Flow. Yeah, so we quickly take a look at these things. But for maintenance, if at all you are going on a project, you will still see a lot of workflows, and at least you may work on some migration projects also. That's why it is good to know about workflows. But if you are building anything new, so don't use workflows. The other thing that workflows would support the time-based workflows. So when you say when a case is created now, so you want to follow up with that customer maybe after 4 or 5 days. So to get some survey and all, so that's where you use this time-based workflows. We will take a look at all these things. So, and the scenario that we can use for this one, I want to make sure our most important customers are getting support they need. Whenever one of our large accounts logs a support case, I want to know about it. By large, I mean more than 5,000 employees or annual revenue more than 20 million. So that's the scenario he is asking. So whenever we create a case for large account, which is either the account has 5,000 employees or more, our annual revenue is 20 million. And when the case is created, somehow we need to notify NOAA. So that's the simple thing that he's asking. To get to that one, so potentially we can write on a case object, we can write one workflow. And the trigger condition is every time the case is created and the account has either 5,000 employees or 20 million annual revenue. So that is our trigger condition. So then we can use this email alert. That email alert would send an email to NOAA saying, okay, hey, there is a big case created, or maybe some case has been created for a big account. So that's what we are going to send. So we will look at trigger condition, we will look at email alert. So while we are doing that one, I will also talk about this task and outbound message and field update, and also I will show you the time-based workflow. Let's get into the system. So like anything, so we'll start with setup. And we look for workflows here. And so here there are workflow rules and email alert, field update, the send action, all that stuff. So let's start with workflow rule. And so we don't have any rules. So let's start with one rule. And the first thing is where do you want to start? Basically now when a case is created, that's where we want to start. So NOAA wants us to create any time we create a case for a big account. So that's where he wants to start up. So, and this is the trigger condition. So every time it is created. And also not only, we can get cases created for big accounts, small accounts. And so this is one criteria, and we also need to make sure the other criteria that he wants us to use. So we start with a case, and from case we need to look at account. So for account, the thing there is employees, so that's the one. And so let's say greater than or equal to 5,000. And the second criteria that he wants us to use account revenue. Annual revenue greater than or equal to 10 million, I think. Yeah, 20 million. Yeah. Okay. And that is our criteria. So we are looking at case object, we are looking at created cases, and we are looking at these two. And the thing is, here we have this and condition. We need to change that to or condition because he wants us to use either this or that. And we select that or condition. Now we are good to go. And this is where I mean we have our conditions right, but we want to send an email to NOAA. So that's what he wants us to do. So now these are 4 options. Either you can create a task for NOAA, or you can create an email alert, or you can do some field update. Basically, if you want to, on the case object itself, if you want to update something, so you can do that. But in our case, we want to use email alert. And before that, I mean, we haven't created any email alerts. Okay, so actually, I mean, this navigate to that email alert creation. So there may be some things that these guys may have already created. So basically, we are using some template. I mean, the same thing like how we created email template, they already created this. So we will use this guy, new case for large account. So let's use that template. I mean, this is what I said. So when we are creating email alerts, we might need to use this email templates. That's the one first we will create email template, then we will create email alert. Once we have email alert, you use that email alert in workflow. That's how we do that. And here we know, I mean, he wants us to send, I mean, this email has to go to NOAA. So that's what we are saying here. So on the case object, so we are using some email template and we are sending to that guy. So that's that thing. And it will use my current address. Sometimes if we want to send an email using our company email address, we have to do some other setup, saying we have to create that email address in Salesforce and we have to verify that address. So those steps, once we take care of that, you will get that email also here. For now, I will just go with I mean, whoever is creating that one, it will use their email address. So I save this guy. And it navigated back to that email, the workflow rule that we were creating. So we have our condition and we have our email alert. And so this is another one, time-based trigger. Let's say this case, we want to follow up with that contact after some time. Maybe after we close the case, maybe after 5 days, if we want to send any email to the customer itself, so we can use this guy. But for now, I think we are okay. So, but if you want to try, so basically here we will say when after how many days. If it is 5 days, we just simply change that thing. And here whether I mean after the case is closed, that's where we want to send that one, and that's how we set those conditions and all. Yeah, so after 5 days, let's say if we, I mean, for the sake of, I mean, we know how it works. Simply, I will use the existing one. I mean, you can create another email alert and we can do that, but for now, I will say existing action. So here you see new task, new email, and if you already created something, you can use this one and it will ask you to select from existing email. I mean, right now I'm just using the same thing, but if you create another one, so that will be shown here and you can set that guy. I mean, right now what I did, I created an email alert. As soon as the case is created, one email would go to NOAA, and another email, I mean, I'm just doing some marking here. I'm sending one more email to Nova, but we can easily change that one, this email alert to some other thing. So just to demonstrate, I'm showing, but in real time, we may be sending some email to customer rather than Nova. But this one, this is actual requirement from the charter post. So now we got that guy. So all we have to do is, I mean, this one, everything has to be active, and just activate this guy. So just to simulate this thing, so the default workflow user, let's select myself. I mean, some one-time settings. These are all. Yeah. So now this one is ready. So we can just to test this guy. All we have to do is we have to create a case. And for that case, we need to pick the right account first. So let's start with account. And meanwhile, I will also change this Nova's email to my email so that you can see the email also here. Let's actually go. So now, if at all any email goes to Nova, so that email goes to my Gmail, we can see it. So now let's go back, check some account that has 5,000 employees. Slow. Okay. So this account, I mean, there are 1,000 users and it has 15 million. And even if we create anything, so it doesn't help us much. So let's change this one to uh, maybe 6,000 employees. That's how it will meet our criteria. And let's create a case for this account. This one, we don't have this case thing. Okay, but we can go back to cases and start creating from there. This is the one case. Okay, I think we don't need contact for now. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. So we created the case. So by now we should get that email also. Yeah, my system is working a little slow. I'm just pulling up that email. Yeah. As you see here, we got the email case 1020. So that is the case that we just created. Big accounts case has been created for a large account. I mean, that's part of that email template. Yeah, so this is how the email comes. And I mean, you see here, typically this email, as you can see, so this goes as if it is sent by Salesforce. I mean, ideally, if it is comes with Crestsoft, I mean, there is something that we need to enable on the Exchange level. Exchange means the Outlook or whatever the email that company uses. So they have to use that email relay. Once we set up that one, so the email would go as if it is going through the company email. So that's how, I mean, there is another setup that we need to do. But for now, an email goes to the customer like the way we want with all that email template and also the case details. So now Noah got that email. Basically, so whatever he wants us to do for him, so we were able to do that. I mean, this is another automation. If we don't do that, potentially Noah has to create some report, and he has to go check periodically in the system, or he has to set up these the report subscriptions and all. I mean, there are ways for him to do that, but it is all not at the instant. So the moment we created the case, now we notified Noah. So if at all he wants to follow up with that one, so he can take care of that with this kind of automation. If we don't do these things, basically he has to self-serve. I mean, if he is not up to date on the, I mean, writing reports or maybe checking his emails. So first thing is the reports are can be sent only 1 hour interval, and also it is not that efficient, whereas this guy immediately he got that email, he can take action. So yeah, that's what I mean, whatever he wants us to do, so we were able to do. And we saw the trigger conditions, we saw email alert, and also we saw this outbound message we didn't talk, so that is to send a message to external system. The time-based workflow we configured, but we haven't seen that one. Let's go back, check it in the system. So every time we create those time-based workflows, you can monitor those. And the way we set up those, so it will trigger after 5 hours. So if you go under monitor, so even there is this time-based workflow. And if you simply search for this, I think I did everything right. Let's see what happened. So basically, ideally, it should show up that case number and all, saying, and also the time, schedule, date, and time. So when it is going to fire, all that information it should show. Let's go back workflows. So we set this back. And 5 days after case, okay. So yeah, we haven't closed this case. So now the case is still open. Let's close this case. So there is another criteria here. So the way we set up this guy. So since we said, okay, this is the second condition. So 5 days, not after case creation, 5 days after case is closed. So let's go back to case, and let's change this status to closed. And now that another time-based workflow should fire. And it should come here. Okay, where is this case? Don't have account. Everything looks good. So the status is closed. We don't need to do this, but it should come by now. Yeah, close. I mean, this is, I was checking for this one. So the closed is equal to this closed. And I mean, we are meeting the requirements of this guy. So not sure why it won't come. So let's change the rule little bit. I mean, ideally that should work without any changes. Let's see. So we have this requirement and rule created and add prime trigger. Let's I mean, I'm just saying, so immediately fire this one. And, let's add a task this time. So let's try to create one more case. I think as soon as we create a case, I think it should pick up that one. So yeah, I'll check the other one why that should didn't fire. But ideally the rule looks good to me. So this is how it will work. So immediately this case, the rule fired. This is the time-based workflow. And in this case, we just said immediately create a task. And now I believe as soon as I refresh, potentially it should go away. Okay, so this one scheduled date 10:01 we created. And so this one potentially will process in a little bit, and the task will be created for Alison Wheeler. That's how, because we want to create a task. That's how we schedule this thing. Yeah, so basically here we created a task after the date time is open. And so, I mean, that's how you use the time dependent workflows. After some time, if you want to send some email, or maybe if you want to send some follow-up, if you want to notify, if you want someone to follow up on the case, so you use these things. But there are some limitations on this thing. In an hour for any company, so they Salesforce only allow 2,000 or 1,000 email, I mean, time-based workflows. That's why we have to be very careful when we are using this thing. And if it is a time sensitive one, and let's say if we create maybe 2,000 cases every day or every hour, and if we are expecting these notifications to go out to those users, this one will fail, because Salesforce don't allow us to use that many time dependent actions. We have to find the different ways. So that's where we always need to take the limits into account when we are designing solution. If it is a lightweight one, and if we are sure that we are not going to run into any limits, so we can go ahead. Otherwise, we have to find another option. So yeah, is it okay? I mean, are you guys with me so far?
Here we can create just one case at a time, right?
I mean, you can create one case at a time, but let's say there are 100 users that are creating case, and 100 times this workflow has to trigger, because the condition is, I mean, if they are using same account or maybe similar accounts that have 20 million currency, I mean, annual revenue, or 5,000 employees or more, for every time we create a case, and this one will fire, and it will create one workflow action, the time-based workflow action. But I mean, these other ones are fine. So the immediate workflow actions, you don't have any issue. The only the time-based workflows, you have a problem with limits.
Okay.
And I mean, we will quickly take a look at this process builder, and we can end the day. So there is another one called process builder. And the main thing is, as I said, workflows Salesforce came up with workflow first. And after maybe few years, Salesforce came up with this process builder. And it is little more, it has little more rich functionality than workflow. So it has all features of workflow except the outbound message. When we are trying to send a message to external system, let's say we create an opportunity, we close the opportunity. At that time, we want to send an email, a message to, let's say, another system like SAP or Oracle, saying, okay, hey, we closed an opportunity. Maybe you can create an order on your system. So if that is the requirement, at that time we use this outbound message. But that outbound message is only possible from workflows to fire. That is the declarative option. So I mean, there are ways that we can use in program using Apex. You can send something called callout, so that way you can notify other systems. But if you want to use a declarative option, outbound message is one option. And the outbound message can only trigger from workflows and flows. So process builder is not an option. So then the workflow won't do any updates to cross objects. Let's say if you are updating an account or contact, and if you want to update the related account, the workflow is not suitable for that. So you have to find another way. So basically, either you have to write trigger using Apex, or you have to find some other way. So workflow doesn't work. If you want to update same object, the workflow will work. If you want to touch another object, when I say object, let's say account, contact, task, event, those are all objects. From workflow, you can create a task, but not update a task. So whereas with process builder, as I said, it came later, so it has little more rich functionality. It can do updates and creates on any related object. And so you can also use approval process from process builder. And so we will talk about these flows. So you can launch flows, and also you can call Apex. So if you write some custom functionality that you want to fire, you can invoke that custom Apex from process builder. So let's take a look at some use case. So you can also send some chatter messages and all. So let's take an opportunity, and when an opportunity is created, we want to post a message to chatter. So that's our requirement. Let's take that one, and let's try to do that. So obviously, so since we are, I mean, the use case is an opportunity, and so everything is under setup. So you look for process builder. So first process, I mean, there are no nothing that we created so far. So no opportunities process. Yeah, let's call that one. And here basically a record change. So I mean, there are multiple things that a process builder can be used. So there is this platform event. So this is more of an advanced one. So and right now, so whenever an opportunity is created or updated, that's why we need to select this one. And this is the trigger criteria. Once we select that one, so and we can add another. We only said a record is created, but we didn't say which record. So that's where we are selecting this object. And so here we will select this opportunity. And also you have a condition whether you want to fire this one all the time, or you want to create it only for certain scenarios. So whether it is created or edited. If it is created or edited, maybe you can do some more conditions later. But for now, so let's use this thing. And here the criteria. So now we said an opportunity is created. So again here, so let's take the same example, big account one, big account opportunity. So that's the condition that we are saying. So that criteria. So the first one is opportunity created, and we are adding some condition. So you can correlate what to the workflow conditions here. So now we are starting with the opportunity. So now we need to traverse to account, and then from account, so you want annual revenue. So we select that field, and so here we said 20 million greater than or equal to, and then we say from account, again same thing, the number of employees. So again greater than or equals to. What happened to this? Greater than or equal to currency. Yeah. So again, so we have this and condition or condition. So that's what we are saying. So any of the conditions meet, either this or that. I mean, if you want to add more customized logic, so if we have multiple conditions that we add here, we can use the other one. But for now, this one is good enough for us. So that's what it will come. So is it big opportunity? I mean, if you want to see what is the condition, so you just click on that, you will see what is the condition here. And now, so the action. So I mean, here you see this is the time-based workflow that you want to select. Or if you want to say, okay, I just want to, I mean, here these are the multiple things. So there we had either create task, send outbound message or email alert. So you see the email alert is there, and there are multiple ways you can, approval process that you can do, or you want to update the same record. So multiple, little more options here. So since we have seen email alert, let's go to post chatter. So post to, this record, whatever the record that we created, we are using the same one. And post mention some user. So mention, let's say Alison. So let's field, if you want to write any currency information or something, so basically and that will add, that will show the currency that we are posting. And if we want to send at mention, I believe we can modify a group. Yeah, so you can select like that some user, and it will go to their chatter message also. So I think that this should be good. And all we have to do is activate this guy. So now we can go back to opportunity. And the trigger condition is every time an opportunity is created for big account, it will send that message. That's good. Yeah, so immediately that goes to the chatter because of the work we just did. And also for Alison, if we go to Alison, Alison should be seeing message. So let's log in as Alison. It should be under her chatter. Yeah. So basically it will directly go to her chatter, and she can, if at all she has any setup to send emails whenever there is a chatter post to me, so that those emails would also directly go to her email. I haven't talked about these settings under user settings. Every user can set up these things. I think on chatter notifications. So every time some emails goes, basically receive emails should be turned on, and post to my profile. So see, this is the one that we just did. So we are posting to her profile. So basically that email would go, and also the frequency. So whether she should get every time an email and a chatter post is mentioned on her, or do you want to send any daily on the night? Basically, if you select this one, every night an email goes, with a consolidated thing. Let's say there are 10 charter posts that were sent to her. Everything will go in one email. Whereas if you select this guy, immediately that email goes. And if you want some email goes on weekly. So there are multiple options the user can select how the user wants to receive those emails. And some users potentially they don't want to send receive any charter emails, they can just turn it off. But I mean there are some options here. So so I mean those are okay. So that's how you use the process builder and all. And I mean if at all you want to make any changes, you cannot make changes. You have to basically clone the process into yeah, since I logged in as her, so it doesn't have all this access to do setup things, so it is complaining. So let's log out of that user. Yeah, every time you need to make change, you have to just create a new version of that, and you should proceed from there. That's what I wanted to show you. So now, if you want to create a new version, basically I'm saying new version and create the version. And now I can make change. So I mean, I just want to show you the other options. Basically, if you want to call Apex, so here we will say, okay, what is the class that you want to call, and then those things you will say. And if you want to call flow, you can, I mean, if you have, if at all you created any flow, you can refer that flow from here. And same thing, if I want to call any quick actions, you can call quick actions also from. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can do. That's what I want to point out. It's like there are no actions. Let's see. There are some.
Looks like it's one of the amazing feature in Salesforce, right? Because in general, drawing a flow charts is a very complex thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is very good one. But when you go to flow, that is even better compared to process builder. They made a lot of improvements there.
Okay.
And I mean, it is very powerful. And I mean, if there is no volume involved, potentially flows will do a lot more than compared to process builder. But still, this one definitely is quite a big one. And the main problem with these declarative ones, if you don't do this properly, Salesforce has this bulk mechanism. So every time you do data loader, Salesforce would try to insert 200 records at once. And if you are trying to do a lot of multiple iterations, multiple DMLs and all in the process builder, those are the times the iterations will fail. If you are creating one record, you will be fine. But especially when the data loader activities comes in, so you tend to see some failures. So that's where you have to be careful with declarative tools.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely, I mean, very powerful one. I mean, as I came from SAP background, when I saw these things, I was like, okay, I mean,
Yeah,
everything that anything and everything that I need to do, I had to write code there. Here, potentially, you can still stay away from code. You can achieve quite a lot here. Yeah, a lot of declarative things. You are definitely. I mean, if you are very experienced the admin, you can do a lot of things better than I mean intermediate or maybe beginner developer in Salesforce, if I can put it in a better way.
In
So-
Salesforce admin certification, there are a lot of questions related to this builders thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Process builder.
yeah, this is at least 20% weightage should be there on
Yeah.
this process builder. I mean, automation is a very important thing. So yeah, definitely there will be quite a lot. Yeah, we will go through, I mean, these automations and also regarding flows in the next classes. I think we can stop here. And I will try to find some trailhead things for you to practice, and I will send it later. So yeah, so we won't have any class Thursday and Sunday. I have my brother visiting me, so I don't want to do it anything when they are here. We can regroup on Tuesday. So until then, I think you can. I mean, if you are free, maybe try to practice something. Otherwise, we can catch up on Tuesday. All right. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays. Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Shrikant. Happy
Bye.
holidays.
Yeah. Thank you. Same to you.